I watched as the drones would arrive on schedule day after day at the same time. I would see one shuffling into the clock tower just as another would leave, and by their expressions it had become apparent to me that they had forgotten how to live. They were nothing more than the keepers of time for the busy lives of more important people. Their freedom had become meaningless.
Kill a Christian while it prays, use a shovel to do it. Save your gun for the day the fucking government's looking into it. Wanna change the way the system's running and pull it. They'll go back the way they came if there's enough of our bullets. Let's start a revolution before industrial evolution. As every human moving in the direction of mutants, and every section of Wall Street is decadent booming, while every mother feeds a fetus an infectious pollutant. Witness the efforts of the movement, they expect to approve this as metal weapons shoot through desks of execs who assumed it. Witness the screaming of those bleeding as it deafens the music. Witness the death of the wounded with injected solutions. No rest until every suited doubter is given a choice of 48 hours to cower or acknowledge the voice and power. As the crowd shout from the ground, growl and devour palaces with malice no longer bound to their couches. We will tower above the skyscrapers containing nature's rapists, dangling chains in their faces, clanking and banging as the snakes shake, debating their fates. Pacing crazed, wasting away, awaiting their hanging. Fitted in armor created with battle-plated defenses that when bit will break fangs of rabid patriot pigs. Our senses sharpened by the karma of every slave that was hit by a farmer's whip since this nation started. And when the army is martyred, along with sergeants and men in the defense department is hard up for bargaining chips, they'll have to pardon every narc in a pen to guard them and start an Armageddon against the anarchy to win, which doesn't hardly make a bit of sense if the prisons are empty and scores of the guilty mix with the innocent. Well, then we'll be forced to build again, living in hell with degenerates and filthy sinners and killers with no political minutemen to bring them in. So hug your dissidents tight, our mission's in flight. Buckle in, we're in for a fight. Let's question the lessons in religion. Of course I'm right. Give me a hanger and a bucket of ice and I will abort Christ. Or forceps to crush the blessed breath from his head, and then we'll be rid of the biggest impediment ever to get embedded in the collective intelligence of an ethological fellowship. I've selected a set of men to begin the rebellion. You've been given orders to torch the four corners of the borders and force your way into the fortress to the quarters of the courtship. Corner them, core them, and transport them to these coordinates so we can torture them and torment them according to formula. A revolt without gore will only embolden the controllers. They will fold only when we are holding them by the shoulders. I've gone over the strategy of the Romans, the Ottomans, Napoleon, the forefathers of all the hostile men, the unholiest apostles to conquer the soil across any continent. I've grown fond of them as they are the gods who lived upon us. And Sodom and Gomorrah will be born again in demonic sin, forged on the lifeless corpses of righteous men. No longer do we pledge allegiance to United Statesmen as their flagrance has been replaced with frightened faces. Find pride in hatred, gut them like fish beside a lake, and when you're finished with it, twist the knife and break it.